Hello Internet, welcome to my channel. I'm ChameleonX, and I know this video is quite a bit late to the party. I originally started working on it back in December after I found out that WotC had released an Unearthed Arcana about the Artificer. I decided then that I would make this video as kind of a sequel to my other video about how I would fix the Ranger for Edition 5.5. Well, between my actual job and the holidays and illness and depression and making preparations to leave the country in the event of World War III, this video took way longer than I thought it was going to. Ergo, I'm not going to give you a lot of preamble. Let's just jump in and get going. As usual, I will link to a free PDF in the description where viewers can find my Enhanced Artificer, which anyone can download and use. Enjoy. Now, I'll say right out of the gate that there's only a few things I didn't like about the playtest. The main thing to address here is magical tinkering and spellcasting. The former is a ribbon feature that WotC essentially ditched. The feature we get in the 2025 playtest is the same in name only. Now, I don't dislike this new feature, but I do dislike them removing the original magical tinkering. While both features are obviously just ribbons that serve no real purpose in combat, the old version encouraged creativity and inventiveness, which is literally the whole point of the Artificer class. You have to be clever and use this feature to its fullest potential, whereas the new thing is basically just, I can save us a trip to the store, guys. Ergo, in my ideal Artificer, I restored the original magical tinkering and instead moved the new 2025 version to level 3, incorporating it into what used to be the right tool for the job feature. As for spellcasting, this is the largest departure from the published version, and I have no illusions that WotC would ever incorporate this change until possibly they release a true 6th edition. As mentioned in my Ranger video, I despise the way half-casters are represented mechanically, and my ideal Artificer incorporates the upgrade I debuted there. This Artificer gains new spell levels at the same rate as a full caster, acquiring 5th level slots by level 9. The actual number of spell slots, however, remains the same as the vanilla 5e version, so you're not actually getting any additional power you wouldn't have gotten anyway, you're just getting it faster. The progression of spell slots also slows down at higher levels to compensate for the faster growth early on, so you sort of plateau out in the middle game, where most campaigns end anyway. The only problem I really foresee with this approach is that it could be seen as encouraging multiclassing, as without the half-caster staggering of spell levels, there's not as much of an incentive to keep leveling a Ranger or Paladin or Artificer beyond 10th level, if all you're looking to gain from the dip is their magic. I don't think this is that huge of an issue, since most dips only go 1 to 3 levels anyway, and if you're multiclassing into one of these classes, it's almost certainly because of something other than their spell list. I originally hated that they ostensibly nerfed the Artificer by only allowing them to replicate magic items, but that was before I realized that everything that used to be an infusion was going to be reprinted as a magic item. So in reality, all they really did was open up the infusions to be used by everyone. This is probably a positive change. It does kind of reduce the uniqueness of the Artificer by removing these special things that only they could do, but overall it's probably healthy for the game going forward. Ergo, I decided not to mess with it. The feature presented in my Enhanced Artificer is essentially the same as the one in the UA article. The only thing I did was remove the unnecessary suggestions that were wasting space and add a line that opens up new plans automatically as you level up, instead of wasting text by making these explicit class features. The only reason I can think for why they did this was to prevent multiclass characters from getting access to higher level infusions with a 2-level dip, but all I had to do was add the phrase Artificer level to the relevant line of text, and that shuts down that possibility, so I don't know, moving on. As with my Ranger video, this is a good place to mention that the PDF linked in the description includes a new Artificer specialist, the Electrician, which is designed to function both with the original Artificer, the UA version, or my Enhanced Artificer. Whichever one you use, this subclass is free for you to try out. Check out the link if you're interested. Also from level 3, right tool for the job has been replaced by Create Object. As mentioned earlier, I took the UA feature, Tinker's Magic, and merged it with the right tool for the job feature from the 2014 Artificer. If you aren't aware, Tinker's Magic just allows you to open up the console and spawn in some random adventuring gear from a list, which now includes Artisan's Tools and Thieves' Tools, which weren't in the original feature for some reason.
Incidentally, I just noticed while editing this video that WotC had completely removed Right Tool from the job from the 2025 playtest. I thought they might have had the same idea I did and added it to Tinker's Magic, but no, the feature is just gone, apparently.
This is another major change to the original Artificer. I always felt that the spell storing item feature was far more iconic to the Artificer than it really got credit for, and it's a shame that such an awesome feature doesn't appear until level 11, when you're most likely going to be nearing the end of the campaign. Ergo, I took the original feature, nerfed it, and gave it to you at level 5. Once you reach level 11, the feature is upgraded to match the new Unearthed Arcana version, which is itself an upgrade of the original, in that it allows you to store 3rd level spells.
Magic Item Tinker replaces Tool Expertise from the original Artificer in both the 2024 Unearthed Arcana and the updated one. The 2025 version of this feature is significantly better than the previous incarnation, so I've replaced my version with the Magic Item Tinker feature from the 2025 UA article.
Flash of Genius is one of the core features of the Artificer class, even though you don't get it until level 7 for some reason. Oh, like in the UA version, my Flash of Genius doesn't trigger unless someone fails an ability check or saving throw, so you don't have to worry about wasting it. I also tossed in an upgrade, which I'm frankly kind of shocked that WotC didn't add to this, considering they've been doing it for all the other classes in 2024. In my version, you regain 1 use of Flash of Genius every time you finish a short rest, and you get all uses back on a long rest.
Okay, Future Cam here. This section of the video is one of the larger chunks that had to be redone and re-recorded because of some of the changes in the new 2025 Unearthed Arcana article, which made a few of the things I did in my first draft of the Enhanced Artificer redundant. For those of you who are interested, I'll put a summary of the changes that I made and the reasons why and everything up on the screen, so if you are interested, you can just pause the video and read that. Long story short, I just reverted Magic Item Adept to the original 2014 version that just lets you attune to more magic items at once. Also, as I mentioned before, I gave my Artificer a weaker spell storing item at level 5, and at level 11 the feature is upgraded to match the 2025 version. The 2024 and 2025 UA articles both axe Tool Expertise, which the 2014 Artificer got at level 6, and which my Enhanced Artificer also used to get at level 6. However, with the upgrade to Magic Item Tinker, I instead moved Tool Expertise to level 13, which would otherwise be a dead level.
My version of Magic Item Savant is basically just restoring the version found in the 2020 version, which the Unearthed Arcana severely nerfed by removing the part that let you ignore any restrictions on Magic Item attunement. I did slightly nerf this feature by only allowing you to ignore class and species restrictions, but in practice, that's basically the only prerequisites you're actually going to care about. Honestly, I'm not even sure what the original feature meant by spell or level requirements. I can't even think of any magic items that would require you to know a certain spell or be of a certain level to be able to attune to them. Unless by spell requirements they mean you have to be a spellcaster, but that would be pointless because artificers are spellcasters, so that's not actually doing anything. I don't know. Moving on. At 17th level, I added a new feature called Peerless Genius. You regain a use of Flash of Genius whenever you roll initiative, and if you add Flash of Genius to a roll and it still fails, you don't burn a use. Simple, not absurdly powerful, maybe a bit too late to be relevant, but still better than a dead level. I made no changes at level 18 and kept the UA's edition of Epic Boons at 19th level. At level 20, I slightly redesigned the lackluster capstone that WotC paradoxically decided to buff and nerf at the same time. In my version, Cheat Death resets your hit points to twice your Artificer level instead of 20. This is so one hit from a monster at your party level won't instantly drop you again. I also restored the ability of Magical Guidance to affect saving throws, but kept the change from the UA version of using a D6 instead of tying it to the number of magic items you have attuned. In addition to the Enhanced Artificer class itself, the linked PDF includes 2 extra bits I added on. One is the aforementioned subclass, the other is 3 new spells which are referenced in the subclass spell list. Each of these spells is a power available to the Artificer class in 4th edition D&D, Since basically everyone that I've seen other than me acts like 4E never existed, I'm fairly confident these spells haven't been adapted to 5E before.
As for why I chose these spells in particular, I was basically just filling in the gaps in the lightning spells in the current edition. At the moment, there aren't really any good lightning damage spells for 2nd or 5th level, and there wasn't really a good utility spell at 4th level that I felt fit the theme of the class. So I basically just looked over the power list of the 4th edition Artificer and picked out some that sounded cool. I had to switch around some of the spell levels, but that's not really that important. As for the subclass itself, the first feature is fairly straightforward. You get some bonus spells themed mostly around lightning and thunder. As with my Ranger video, this subclass is designed to work with any version of the Artificer class. If you're using my Enhanced Artificer, just use the levels in parentheses. If you're using the original, or the version WotC is going to release in Forge of the Artificer later this year, use the default level progression instead. The next major feature is Electromagnetic Aura, which is a very controllery feature that creates a magnetic bubble around you. When anyone enters the bubble, you can push them around, and if anybody tries to attack someone inside the bubble, you can try to deflect the attack. I went back and forth on restricting this feature to just somebody using a metal weapon, but it ended up feeling too restrictive, so I just made it work with anything. If you feel it's too unbalanced, you can always add that back in. Also, at 3rd level, you get a whole suite of benefits grouped under the heading of Electrifying Warrior that basically turns you into an arcane paladin light. I did this because of the emphasis on the aura, which emerged as I was designing and redesigning this subclass. I figured that this Artificer is going to want to be on the front lines, close to their allies, so they're naturally going to want to be able to survive and fight in melee. At 6th level, you gain Combat Electrician, which adds some extra lightning damage to your weapon attacks and also gives you some AoE lightning damage whenever you cast a spell with a slot. I didn't give the subclass extra attack because I didn't want to lean too heavily into the martial side. I still wanted this guy to be primarily a spellcaster that uses weapons mostly for self-defense. This is also why I didn't give them access to weapon mastery. I want them to be competent in martial combat, but not reliant on it. At 9th level, you get a few new abilities and an upgrade to your aura. You now resist lightning damage, and anyone who hits you while your aura is active gets a little static shock. In addition, you can push someone so forcefully with your magnetic acceleration that you knock them down if they're close to you. At 15th level, Soul of the Storm adds some healing onto your area discharge feature so you can electrocute your enemies and charge up your allies at the same time. Rapid Recharge ensures you'll always have at least one use of your aura in combat, and Magnetic Levitation grants you a flying speed.
It levitates me.
Overall, I think this subclass is pretty powerful. I'm not one of those creators who errs on the side of caution when making up homebrew. I prefer to start strong and dial things back when problems arise. So if anybody wants to try this subclass out and give me some feedback on it, I can update it sometime in the future to make it more balanced.
Well, that's it for this one. If you'd like to see me craft more hypothetical class updates, or if you just want the free subclasses that go with them, suggest what other classes you might want to see in the comments. If you liked the video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this. If you didn't like it, maybe give me an idea of what other kind of content you might like better. Until then, I've been Chameleon X. See you in the next one.